Hi, my name is Pranav, and this is my contribution to MonoGame. So MonoGame is basically like an open source .NET framework that allows developers to make cross-platform games with C#, and it's been used in popular games like Celeste, Stardew Valley, and more. And because MonoGame is open source, anyone can contribute to fixing bugs, improving documentation, or even adding features. And the repository is structured into different folders. Each one serves a different purpose. So for example, we have the monogame.framework folder, which is basically it's a core game framework. It handles rendering, input, and sound. And then we have monogame.framework.content.pipeline. It's a content pipeline which is basically responsible for loading and processing game assets. These can include textures, sounds, and models. And then we have the main file it's working on is in the content-writer.cs file. It's in the compiler module in the serialization folder. And this module basically makes sure that game assets are properly processed and stored in MonoGame's XNB format. And this contribution improves the content writer file, and it manages how game assets are serialized and written into these XNB files. I also worked on created a content writer test file, which contains test cases for the to verify my fix. And so the problem was that basically accessing base stream position multiple times in the write method caused extra XNB headers to be written, and this led to corrupt XNB files that couldn't be loaded properly. And the solution was creating this new finalized content function. So basically instead of writing headers every time base stream was accessed, I basically moved the logic to a specific function that makes sure that it only happens once. And now I'll go more in depth into the finalized content function. So these first few lines basically prevent double execution, and then they write shared resources at the end of the content file. The majority of this function is we're creating a temporary memory stream to create the final content. Over here we're copying the body of the content into the final stream. Over here this means that the compression failed, and then it reverts the stream data back into an uncompressed format. Here it resets back to the main output stream and then writes the final file structure. And then over here we're basically writing either the uncompressed or compressed stream data. And then finally this line is for cleaning up memory streams. I also made changes to dispose function so that basically it could call finalized content before closing the stream. So before dispose didn't actually make sure that the file is properly finalized, and this could have led to errors. So I changed it so that finalized content is actually called before the stream is disposed. And then I modified the flush function so that it only clears buffer data instead of writing extra headers. So these changes fixed the issue, and I made sure that the XNB files are written correctly. To verify this fix, I wrote unit tests in this content writer test file. These tests confirm that flush does not modify the file. Finalized content actually makes sure that the header is written only once, and then the output's actually valid and readable. So after running these tests, I was able to confirm that the issues were fixed without introducing other new issues. And some of the challenges I faced were that basically understanding the existing code base and the overall how the code worked took time because it was very complex. Making sure my fix didn't break other functionality required a lot of testing, and then setting up the test environment and debugging file i/o behavior was tricky. Some things I learned was that basically testing early prevents issues later. Engaging with the community also helps understand the issue better, and then contributing to open source is a great way to learn real world development. If I did this again, I'd probably write tests earlier and then communicate with the community sooner. And overall, contributing to MonoGame was a great experience, and I plan to continue working on open source projects. Thank you.